April is over, and that means it's time that I choose the best book that I read in the first third of the year. Hello, my name is Orion, and this is my channel where I talk about books and writing. And today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read between January and April. So I work a full-time job, so it can be kind of hard for me to find the time to read. But so far I have managed to read 14 books, which is one book my hair, which is one book away from my goal, from the halfway point of my reading goal for the year. So I think I'm doing pretty good. But anyways, let's get started. So I read four, full books in January, and I want to talk about them. Obviously, that's what I'm filming this video for. The first one was The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I read it in Spanish, and as you can see, this is a second-hand edition. This book, my best friend recommended it to me like 2 years ago, but I didn't want to read it because I knew that I was gonna suffer while reading it. But I finally kind of gave in and read it, and I do not regret it. It's a very enjoyable read. The format of the book is very interesting, and the fact that the book is narrated by death themselves is such an interesting premise. Genuinely, I loved it very much. There were some times where the book felt a little bit slow, and that's why I didn't give it like 5 stars. But it's definitely a very unique read. A read that I definitely recommend a lot. And I think I spent the entire like last 5 chapters or so of the book just crying my eyes out, as I knew I would. I mean, it's no surprise. The book tells you very early on, like the book warns you very early on of things that are gonna happen later, and it's your own fault if you don't if you don't pay attention to those warnings. Overall, excellent read. I think I gave it 4.5, no, 4.25 stars. So I liked it quite a lot. Very enjoyable, really good book. But be very prepared to suffer 100%. Next book I want to talk about is The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. So Isabel Allende was one of the very first authors I read when I was a child. I think I was in elementary school, and I read her, I think, only YA series that she has. I don't remember the name, the title, but I already knew that she's an amazing writer. She's so good. She's a really good writer. This book, The House of the Spirits, is from 1981, I think. I'm not sure. And it holds up so well. Sometimes I don't like reading very old books because I'm worried about like prose. The style is very different, obviously, because time passes and writing techniques change and everything. But her prose holds up so well. This book's a classic of magical realism for a reason. This book follows the story of this family through several generations, and it's mostly through the lens of the women in the family. I say mostly because there is one male character that is present throughout the entire story, and whose actions and like presence in the story influences the lives of these women, for a reason, for good reason. It's a very good book. I struggled every time I picked it up. I struggled to put it down because it was just so enrapturing. I will say though, it has a lot of trigger warnings. Definitely recommend that you check them on Storygraph because there's a lot. Some are less explicit than others, but I think you have to understand that a lot of Latin American authors, especially from these years, wrote things very explicitly, very crudely. So it can be quite a shock if you're not used with that. Magical realism, especially, is a genre that lends itself a lot to the depiction of different sensitive topics in very crude ways. So this book is no exception to that, but I definitely recommend it. Very good read, a must for magical realism, 100%. I give it 5 stars, like no questions asked. I already knew I was gonna love it when I picked it up. This was actually the first book of my that I had in my book club with my friends from high school. So yeah, 100% recommend. Just to clarify, I'm not in high school, but I still speak with my friends from high school. Anyways, next book. Next is my reread of The Raven Boys by Maggie Stief Vader. I don't know how to pronounce it. This saga is my favorite fantasy saga ever. I love it so much. I wanted to reread the books. I was afraid of doing it so because I was afraid they wouldn't hold, but they hold so well. I mean, we're talking January to April. I'm already on Blue Lily Blue Pod. This book holds up so well. I was reading my own annotations while rereading the book, and I was so clueless. I had no idea what's going on. But anyways, yeah, my reread was still 5 stars. It did not go lower. So you know that the book still holds. Super enjoyable read. I was very happy to notice that even though I already knew what happens, I was still experimenting many of the emotions that I experienced the first time that I read these books, and that made me very happy because it means that the books hold up and are still very enjoyable even if it's a reread, which I think is nice because I think that there are some books that are very hard to reread because it's gonna be almost impossible for you to experience kind of like the same emotions that you had the first time. But this holds 5 stars, no comments. And the last book and best book that I read in the month, take into account that I do not count rereads for my classification of best book. So the best book that I read in the month is without a doubt Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This book, Jesus, right? It's thick. She's thick. She is working hard. This book destroyed me. I actually watched the movie before I watched the book because back then it was really hard to get a copy of it. Like, it was sold out everywhere. But I enjoyed the movie very much. Like, I loved it. The movie is nowhere near as cruel as the book. This book is cruel. This book is not holding back. There were so many things about this book that I loved. Ironically, I think about halfway through I was like, there's like 4 stars, 4.5 stars at most, and then close to the end, like almost by the end, I was like, oh, this is 4.75 at least. And then I read the last chapter. It was 5 stars. I was sold on it. It was so good. It had me reeling. It had me thinking. It had me analyzing this book like so closely after I read it. I'm still thinking about it because, jeez, it was really good. I think that something that the movie did that really separates it from the book is its portrayal of Coriolanus Snow's mind. In the movie, you're almost sympathetic of him. Like, you kind of see him become evil. Not here. He's an annoying bastard. It's what I will say. Like, he is his inner thoughts, his inner monologue. I was just the entire time like, shut up, you privileged bastard. Really good. It was so good. I will say, I think the most interesting part for me that I noticed was that the rest of the books in the universe, in the Hunger Games universe, are written in first person, and this book was written in third person. Now, mind you, I read them in Spanish. I don't know if it's the same in English, but if it is, Suzanne Collins, you are brilliant for that. Such a small detail, but I loved it. Seriously, it like enhanced the series so much for me. But yeah, anyways, this was my best read of the month. You might have guessed, but 5 stars. It was so good. Genuinely, I definitely recommend this book to everyone because it's such a good portrayal of how we sometimes try to convince ourselves that we are in the right, even when everything else is yelling at us that we're on the wrong. But yeah, anyways, best book of January. So let's move on to February, and in February I read 3 books, but one of them was an EPUB, so I don't have it with me. And let's start with The Dream Thieves. again, reread. I haven't reread this book, but I'm happy to say that I raised the rating on this one, because originally when I read it, it was like a really bad time for me and I was not enjoying the book. I could not pay attention to it. So now that I reread it, I noticed so many things that I hadn't noticed before, because originally I was not paying attention to it, and I raised it from like 4.5 to 5 stars, I think, or something like that. So anyways, 5 stars. Hey, that's great. Now we have 2 books in this series that are 5 stars. This book, genuinely, it is so good. It is so different in mood from the first book, and I was telling this to my soulmate that basically I feel like book 1 and 3 are very similar, and book 2 and 4 are very similar, like in mood. So this one is very, very different in mood from book 1, because we are following Ronan, who is a much more chaotic character than anyone else in the books. But I noticed so many things that I hadn't noticed before, and I was like, oh my god, I did not remember this even happened. So in a way, it was kind of like I was reading it for the first time, because I didn't have many memories of this book originally, but it was so good. It was so good. The way the author explores Ronan's mind and internal conflict, delicious. And Ronan is my favorite character, of course, so this book, very much appreciated. I really want to read, I'm not sure if I should, because I really haven't heard anyone speak about it, but I know there is like a trilogy after the Raven Cycle that follows Ronan mainly, and I'm really curious about that, and I wonder if I should read it. If anyone in the comments has read it, like, let me know if I should. Anyways, next was The Murmur of the Bees. I'm gonna try to put the cover here, maybe somewhere, if I can figure out how to do that in my video editing software. Murmur of the Bees was such a good book that I was not expecting to love so much. When I first read like the blurb, you know, at the back of the book, it did not sound very interesting. I was not very compelled to read it, but it was the most voted book for my book club. So I was like, you know what? Sure, let's give it a try. I loved it. It's such a good book. It starts very slow. You do have to get through the beginning, and it's kind of hard because it starts very, very slow. But as you read it, you start falling in love with the characters so easily, because the characters are so well written. It's such an emotional story, and it's really interesting because, like most other magical realism books, it doesn't feel like anything is happening. It doesn't feel like there's a plot. There is, but it doesn't feel like there's a plot. So it creates this very like atmospheric read that just envelops you in this like town that the author created. Well, actually, I think this one is not a mythical town. This one's a real one, I think. I don't remember. I already forgot where it happens. But I think it's a real one. But it envelops you in this like environment of this village slash town. You get wrapped up in the characters and their feelings and the things that they are experiencing. I finished reading this book on my way to work, and I was a sobbing mess. I think I have a picture of my crying face somewhere. If I can find it, I'll also put it here. I cried so much. I give it 5 stars. It was such a good book. The ending feels like coming home, you know? It's I remember and I want to cry again. It's that good. I definitely recommend it. It's not like a very, I think compared to, for example, The House of the Spirits, The Murmur of the Beast is not like a very well-known magical realism book, but it's really good. It's genuinely so good in a very different way to The House of the Spirits, but I loved it so much. I feel warm. My heart feels warm just thinking about it. And finally, let's talk about the best book of the month, which I have seen on Twitter. Many people are saying this is one of the best books they have read. Blood Over Bride Heaven. This book is an experience. This book's a must read. I actually got this book because I was looking for The Sword of Kaigen. I saw several people, I don't know where's the name of the author, I saw several people recommending ML Wang, and I was very curious about it. So I was looking for the Sword of Kaigen, but I did not find that book. Instead, I found Blood Over Bright Heaven. So I was like, you know what? Why not? This book has one. Let's start with like the surface level. This book has one of the most interesting, most unique magic systems I have seen in a while. And it is so well incorporated into the world that that the book is happening in, the story is happening in, that my god, it was brilliant. I'm gonna show you like a drawing just from what it looks like. So they use these like they're called spellographs, so it's like a writing machine, and that's how they make their spells. It is so good. It is genuinely so good. This is one of those books that I wish, I am sad that I can't. I wish I could read again for the first time. Because if I ever read this book, sure, it's gonna be enjoyable, but it's not going to be like the first time I read it. It is so... When I tell you it had me on a chokehold, I was screaming. Well, not literally. I'm not a person that screams a lot, but I was... Oh my god, this book is so good. Please read it. Please do yourself a favor and read it. It is that good. I cannot tell you anything else because any other comments I make will be a spoiler. I can tell you what it's about though. So this book follows a woman named Siona, I think that's how you pronounce it, who wants to be the first woman to form part of the High Mages. So these people live in this like domed city. It's protected by a dome. To protect them from the things that happen outside, especially of a phenomenon called the Blight. The Blight is described as a sort of phenomenon slash natural disaster slash sickness that basically strikes people and kills them. And so the people live inside this dome city. I don't remember what it's called. Yeah, I don't remember what the city is called actually, but they live inside this dome to protect themselves from the Blight. But inside this society, it's a very patriarchal society, and while women can study magic, there haven't been any female high mages because they are not good enough. So Siona wants to become the first high mage of this place and prove to everyone that women can also be great at magic. And that's just surface level description. Read this book. Read this book because wow, it's an experience. That much I can tell you. Obviously I give this book 5 stars. I mean, it's my favorite book of the month. I think about this book and I'm still reeling, honestly. Yeah, so please read the book. There was something else I wanted to say, but I don't remember what it is, so I'm gonna stop here. So now we move on to March. Jesus, today my English is not Englishing. And on March I read 3 books, but 2 of them are EPUBs, so only one physical. And I want to actually start with the book that I like the least and that I did not finish. So, mind you, I don't usually count books that I didn't finish on like my read books. There was actually one book in January that I did not finish and I did not mention because the reason why I didn't finish it is because it was my first time trying audiobooks. I realized I do not like audiobooks, so I ended up not finishing the book, but I want to try reading it on like oh my god, my hair, on like physical format or like an EPUB later. So I plan to read it anyways. This book that I did not finish on March is not that. It's a book I hated. So this was the 3rd book that we chose for the book club that I had with my friends, and it was more magical realism because we were trying to do like a theme every trimester. That did not work, and I'll tell you why later, but that did not work. So we were reading what's the name? It was, I have it written here someday. Recollection of Things to Come by Elena Garro. I read 30% of the book, hated it, and gave it, I think, 3 stars. Now, no, I give it 2. I give it 2 stars. I give it 2 stars. And I gave it 2 stars only because the concept was good and it was interesting. The execution, not great. I did not love it. I don't know. It was several things about it. I did not like the author's prose. It was really boring. I could not, like, there were so many characters introduced so quickly that I just did not know who was who. And this is actually very common in magical realism, like the House of the Spirits and the Murmur of Bees both also have a lot of characters, but they are introduced at a good pace and they make it very clear who are like the main characters that we're kind of following, even if all of the characters appear like often throughout the story. Recollection of Things to Come, it does not does that. It's just character after character after character, and you think one character is important and then it completely switches on you and you don't know what's happening. The second thing was that at the very beginning of the book they mentioned this 2 siblings. There's actually 3 siblings, but 2 are important because their relationship is written in a very questionable way, if you know what I mean. And I'm not sure if it's on purpose. I'm not sure where the author was trying to get with that, but because it did not come to anything so far in what I had read, I was just very uncomfortable and I could not continue reading because it didn't feel to me like it was on purpose. Like, it didn't feel to me like that was the purpose of those characters, to be an exploration of that theme. It just so happened to be that they were written like that, and it was, yeah, no, sorry. I have my limits. So I DNF'd the book, give it 2 stars, and I am angry at it because I wasted my time. It almost threw me straight. I'm looking at my cat, and she's like half asleep, and her eyes are doing something really strange. Anyways, I wasted time and it almost threw me into a reading slump, so 2 stars, and I'm being generous. Anyways, next book is La Teoría Kim's Theory. I don't think this book exists in English. So this is a reread. When I first read the book, I loved it. I gave it like 4.5 stars, and I recently bought the second book, but I had to reread this one because it's about time travel and I could not recall what had happened. And unfortunately, I took away 0.5 stars and lowered it to 4 because I realized that this author abuses the use of rhetorical figures of writing. What I mean is that this author writes too much. This book could have been shorter. This book should have been shorter. I enjoy the book. I still think the themes of it are really good. I like the characters. I like the book. I love it. But the author just speaks too much. Like, that sounds so mean. I'm so sorry. It's just that there are a lot of unnecessary sentences all the time that add absolutely nothing to the story. That's my main problem with this book, that there are so many phrases and sentences and expressions that are meant to sound very romantic and very like nice, but they just add absolutely nothing to the story. Like, sometimes it felt like the author was reflecting on something that the characters were not even thinking about. So that's why I lowered the rating that I originally gave it. Still enjoyed it. I still think it has some parts that are like very worth it. And I'm excited to read the second book, but I'm also terrified because the second book is bigger than this one, and this one's pretty big. And I'm afraid it's gonna have more unnecessary reflections of the author. But well, what can I do? Now, the best book that I read on March: The Corruption of Hollis Brown. It is Hollis Brown, right? I keep accidentally changing brown to black. In fact, in my reading journal, I wrote it as black. I just realized it is brown. Hollis Brown. Yeah, I wrote, what is it, brown or is it black? Why did I write it as black? I'm pretty sure it's brown. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Anyways, The Corruption of Hollis Brown. I received an ARC, actually, a digital ARC. So I read it before it came out. It came out on April. It came out last month. Go read it immediately. This book is. It's so good. So it follows this guy, this kid, this boy called Hollis Brown, who ends up getting possessed by the ghost of. I forgot his name. I'm so bad at names. I'm so sorry. I don't remember his name. I'm so sorry. I'm so bad at names. But he gets possessed by a ghost. And the book is basically about how Hollis deals with this possession, how their relationship evolves, and it's also kind of a metaphor for growing up. It is a coming of age book. It is about that conflict of like finishing of being in the bridge between like adolescence and adulthood, you know, the last year of high school and all of that. It's a wonderful book. I loved that book. I think I read about 30% of the book in a single sitting, and then like another 30% in another sitting. Like I read it really fast. I would have read it faster if it wasn't because I was so busy during the time that I was reading it. It's very quickly become one of my comfort books, one of my favorite books. It is horror. It does have horror, and it is somewhat explicit, but I did not find it scary. I found the brand of horror that The Corruption of Hollis Brown has to be comfort horror. It's a queer book with queer themes, and I feel like horror is oftentimes a very comforting genre for the LGBTQ plus community, and this book was that. To me, it was comfort. Like its brand of horror was very comforting. It felt really nice to read. It was beautiful. I loved it. I definitely 100% recommend it. I gave it 5 stars, I think. Yeah, 5 stars. I do think the only thing that I was a bit like sad about was that the format was not like pushed more, because it kind of follows a somewhat like I forget the name, but it's when you have like pieces of like, for example, you have a recipe, or you have like text messages, or like a letter, stuff like that. So it has that kind of structure, but I feel like it could have been pushed more. It could have been more present. I will say that not a lot happens in the book, because our 2 main characters are both sharing the same body. So in terms of actions, not a lot of actions happen. It's mostly the dialogue between these 2 characters. But when there is action, my god, is it used so well. Like, the way the author uses literal actions, literal actions in this book are always done so on point. No action feels wasted. Everything feels like it has a purpose. And I think the main point of this book is the tension. The author manages tension in such a masterful way that I was literally on the edge of my seat the entire time reading this book. Like, it's so, oh my god. What can I say? It's such a good book. Please read it. Please, I beg you, please read it. Please. Finally, we move on to April, and I read 4 books this month. One of them was an EPUB, and these are the ones I read physically. So let's just go through them. First, Blue Lily, Lily Blue. Again, reread. This is still my favorite book on the saga, I think. This book is the shortest one. It's so small, but it portrays the friendship between the characters so well. Like, there's so many quotes that are just about how much they love each other, and genuinely, I love this book. I love this book so much. Still 5 stars. Every book in this saga is 5 stars, but this one is my favorite for sure. It's such a melancholic book. I think this one is the saddest as well. Might be why it's my favorite, but I enjoy crying, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. I don't have a lot to say about this, because at this point, if you haven't read the saga, if I say anything about this, I'm just gonna spoil it too much. So just know that I love it. Please read The Raven Cycle. What can I say? Anyways, Sunrise and the Reaping. Of course. This is the book that kind of ruined the scheme that we had going on for our book club. We went like, you know what? We want to read this book, so we're gonna get rid of the like the teams per trimester, and also we're gonna give ourselves 2 months to read this book. So it's May, and still this book like reading time. I bought this book on a trip to Mexico City because I was there to see Stray Kids. As you can see, my little thing here. I was on a trip to see Stray Kids, and I bought this book, and then I just put it off because I was like not ready to read it. Why would you do that? This book broke my heart. I cried so much. I cried so much. I read like 30% of the book on a single sitting, just at night. I ended up going to sleep at midnight, just crying my eyes out. And then I got to work, and then I just cried more because my soulmate was also reading the book, but she was like way behind me. So I was just, I was crying without being able to tell her why. I love the book. It's really good. I gave it 4.5 stars though, because I have all of these books in Spanish, as you can see here. And I read them in Spanish. This was the first time that I did not like the translation. I just did not like it. I think it was translated by the same person who translated the other books, but I'm not sure. I haven't checked, to be honest. But this is the only time reading these books that the translation actually ruined the immersion for me. Like, it was constantly taking me out of the book because it was not good. I am a translator. That's what I studied. I am not a literary translator. However, I mostly did like legal translation and stuff. I did have courses on literary translation. I would not have translated this book like how it was translated here. I think partially it might be because this one, I think that the translator is from Spain. I'm not sure. But it was very localized, so it just kept taking me out of the book. I don't know. I did not like it. I did not like the translation. I didn't enjoy it. I felt when I was talking to my soulmate, it felt like we were reading very different books. And yeah, that's kind of what ruined it for me, admittedly. I might try to read in English later on, but right now I don't feel like it because I already know what happens and I don't want to suffer. So, you know, I might read it in English later on. But for now, 4.5, this translation was just not it. I did not like it very much. The other reason why this is not my best book of the month is also because obviously we don't know everything that happens in these pages, but it can only go one way. What I mean is, in the original trilogy, we already meet Haymitch as an adult after he's gone through everything that happens in this book. And so, because we already know how he ends up, it's very easy to kind of know what's going to happen here. Obviously, there were many things that still managed to surprise me and that I was not expecting. But it can only go one way. So I think that's the reason why I didn't choose it as my book of the month. But you'll see which is my book of the month, and yeah, that also influences why. Next we have Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. Oh, I pronounced that weird. Come on, you're studying Japanese. Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I'm pronouncing it with an English accent. I'm so sorry, I don't know why. I enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. It was very enjoyable. It was pretty nice. I read it right after Sunrise of the Reaping, thinking it was gonna be very comforting, and it was. It did make me feel better. It also made me cry a lot. At the beginning, I wasn't enjoying it very much. So the book is kind of divided into like 4 like stories that all happen in the same place. But it's 4 different characters. And at the beginning I wasn't enjoying it very much and I wasn't sure why. And then I realized it's because I did not like the character of the first story. I just did not vibe with her. I did not like her very much. And then the other three stories I enjoyed them a lot. I cried a lot. But it's a very chill book. It's, if you want a relaxing read, something that is not very like difficult or very heavy to read, I think this, because even though this book deals with heavy themes, it doesn't feel heavy. It deals with them in a very light, kind of comforting way, I would say. I'm not sure I would read the rest of the books in this series simply because it's just okay. Like, I gave it 4 stars because I think they are well written and they're very interesting topics, but it's not like life changing, maybe. I mean, it wasn't for me. I'm sure it is for other people. It's very enjoyable. It's just not boring, but I don't know. I think I'm a reader that craves a lot like more action in the things I read. But it's still good. Like, I enjoyed it. It's just very chill, I guess. Finally, we have Iron Widow by, I have it written somewhere, Shiran J. Zhao, I think. I had looked up how to pronounce it, but I already forgot. I'm sorry. I have bad memory. Anyways, this is my book of the month, Iron Widow. It's really funny. It's really funny because I rated it also 4.5 stars, so it has the same rating as Sunrise on the Reaping. And when I finished Sunrise on the Reaping, I had already read Iron Widow, and I was holding both books in my mind, considering them, balancing them, and I was like, I have very similar feelings about both of these books. I ended up choosing Iron Widow because even though the ending made me really angry, it made me really angry, and I'm not gonna say why because it will be a spoiler, but the ending made me really angry. Like, I was genuinely considering not reading the second book. Now that I have had time to process my anger, I can see that it's a really good book. It's really good. It's really good. It's very crude. Again, it's very, very crude. It has a lot of sensitive topics, but it's really good. Like, I think I don't often see female protagonists that are so unapologetically angry, and that is very nice to see. Because this anger, I saw one time like someone criticizing that there were too many like angry, strong-willed female characters in fantasy nowadays, because it's what people are writing, and that we should also give space for these female characters to also be emotional and sensitive and all of that. I think Jiren, oh, was that her name? You know what? I should never mention names of characters ever again because I cannot remember them. The protagonist of Iron Widow. She's very she's a very good balance between that. She's so angry, and she has a right to be, but she is also very like you can see that more not humane, more sensitive part of her, very well portrayed in the book. But I was very angry. I was really, really angry at the ending of the book, and I am glad that I managed to get over it and I have chosen it as my best book of the month. I might try to read Heavenly Tyrant on May, but no promises because I'm still a little bit angry. Admittedly, I'm still a bit angry. I was just not expecting anything that happened, honestly, and it threw me off and it made me angry. But anyways, so drum roll. The best book of the first of the first 3 months of the year was Blood Over Bright Heaven. So good, so good. The Corruption of Hollis Brown, close second. Like, I was struggling to choose between Blood Over Bright Heaven and The Corruption of Hollis Brown, but definitely Blood Over Bright Heaven. Like, this book is a must read. I think you'll enjoy this book if you liked Babel, but want something a bit more like action focused. There's a surprising amount of action in this book. It's really good. Honestly, genuinely, really, really good. 100% recommend. I hope you give it a try. But this is now my contender. So usually what I do is I choose best book of the month, and then I choose best book of each third of the year, and then between those three books I choose the best book of the year. So this is a contender. This is contender for best book of the year for me. And I absolutely recommend that you give it a try. Anyways, what books did you read between January and April, and what was your best book of these 4 months? Or your best book of each month? Let me know in the comments, maybe. And if you have read any of these books, what do you think about them? Also let me know. And if you have any book recommendations for me based on my books read on these 3 months, also let me know. And anyways, I will see you on the next video. Bye.